All right. Friday is the day that we've all been waiting for here. I'm going to get me a quick drink real quick so I'll have a little bit of a voice. Uh, and let's kind of talk about some stuff going on here, kind of refer to a few things. Extremely frustrating for me that still have a vast amount of students not doing work in the blended world. Now, this video was watched by traditional students that are absent and who needs a little bit of review. It's also watched by the blended folks, and lots of you blended folks are haven't taken your Chapter 15 test yet, which is extremely frustrating to me. So here, let's go real quick and let's look real quick at the announcements. I'm going to use 6 period here, and it's basically the same thing. I made a new announcement right here that Chapter 15 test deadline to be taken is today at 11:15. And what is discouraging to me is that I'm getting people sending me questions about how to take the test and what is the password and all that. Are you reading or watching the videos that I'm making at all? And I know that there are some people that watch it because they tell them that they ask questions about the videos and all that. And then there's people that actually take the test and they get the information. Everything that you need is in a video. Now, if I left something out, feel free to send me an email and say, hey, have you made a mistake with this or something? But you know, I have just a ton of folks that haven't taken the test, and at midnight tonight, you know, it's going to be a done deal. So, Chapter 16 review sheet is due today. Okay, well, what is that? Some of you are going to say. All right, go to classwork. Go to where it says Chapter 16 circulation. Remember, it's got the red exclamation mark. That means that it's got something in it that will probably be graded. So click here and click on this template right here. And if you have answered numbers 1 through 31, you're good to turn it in. 32 and 33, you do not have to have answered. All you have to have is 1 through 31, and you're good to go. Hit submit and turn it in. And you got until midnight tonight to get this turned in to me. This right here is due today. All right, so what did we do today? All right. We need to go here. You'll want to go to your class period somewhere, and you're going to want to hit the Chapter 17. So where it says Chapter 17, click on it and click on the textbook, and you're going to want to make a place to do your review. So split your screen or do it however you take notes. And we're about to do some note taking here real quick. All right, so do your warm up, watch the video, which you're doing now, and then follow the directions in the video. So follow these directions. All right, today, and I think I may have said yesterday that we were going to start the nervous system today, and I completely had forgotten about the respiratory system, and I was like, we got to get the respiratory system in. So let's quickly go down the road of the respiratory system. Love this story right here. Read this story when you get a few minutes. I'm going to keep on moving, but it talks about a young man that has an accident in water, and he thinks that he may run out of air under the water. And we've all experienced that before, and it's scary. When you're in a pool and you feel like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get to the surface, that is a scary feeling right there. And because our lungs are not made for getting oxygen out of water, our lungs are made for getting oxygen out of air. And so, how does that process work? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. If you will, on your review sheet, if you'll scroll down to number 28, number 28, you will see is respiratory system. All right, so respiratory system, you need to type in this right here. Moves oxygen from the outside environment into the body. Hit pause and we'll talk about it. All right. So your respiratory system are all the organs and tissues that work together to help you bring in oxygen and get rid of other gases like carbon dioxide, which we'll talk about later. Your respiratory system is just a way of getting in precious oxygen to your body. All right. So when you get in oxygen, it starts a process that is called respiration. And respiration is one of those words that the vast majority of people have no idea what respiration means. If you went to the vast majority of adults and you said, what is respiration? They could tell you part of it, but they couldn't tell you the other part. The part they could tell you is that respiration is the act of breathing. But they'd probably stop right there. That's only half of it. What is the rest of it? Okay, well, let's take a look right here. Respiration is this. It is the process in which oxygen and glucose undergo a complex series of chemical reactions inside cells. What does that mean? Okay, hit pause and I'll explain. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, well, you heard me say just a second ago that the vast majority of adults would say, oh, it's breathing. Okay, well, that would be this part right here. Process of getting oxygen. Okay, oxygen is breathing. That's what you're getting in. Okay, but this right here, glucose. Well, what does that have to do with? Well, remember, glucose is sugar, and it's the sugar that your body uses to make energy with. So respiration is the process of taking oxygen from your lungs and taking food from your digestive system and getting the sugar out of it and putting the oxygen and the sugar together in your cells, and that makes energy. That is how energy is made, because oxygen is combined with that sugar and it's burned so that you can have energy in your cells. Okay. Now, speaking of air in your lungs, I love these pie charts right here. These pie charts right here talk about inhaled air. All right, so the first thing it says is inhaled air. Well, inhaled air is inhalation. Okay, so when you take a breath in, what all is in that breath? Okay, what all is in that goes in? Well, you're going to say air. What is air? Okay, air is made up of a bunch of different gases. So what's in it? Well, 78% of it is nitrogen. Okay, oxygen is 21% of it. And you'll see that carbon dioxide is 0.03 and other gases is 0.97. So the vast majority of what you breathe is nitrogen. Okay, well, you'll notice that nitrogen, if you'll notice that when you breathe out, which is called exhaled air, when you breathe out the same number, 78%, as when you breathe it in. Your body does not use nitrogen from the air. Okay? It's a waste gas for us. It's something that just goes in and out. We don't do anything with it. However, look at the oxygen. It's now down to 16%. Okay? Whereas when you breathed it in, it was at 21%. Now do the math real quick. How much air do you use? All right, that is correct. You use about 5% of the oxygen that you breathe in. Okay? You use just a very small amount of the oxygen that is breathed into your body. So those are the main gases that are in our atmosphere: nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide. Notice the amount of carbon dioxide goes up from here. That's because, remember, carbon dioxide is a waste gas. So as you breathe it out, as you breathe out, your body gets rid of that carbon dioxide, which is made by your cells when they burn energy. Okay. And your body's got to get rid of that carbon dioxide. And so when you breathe out, 4% of it is carbon dioxide, whereas going in, it was only 0.03. So we breathe out quite a bit of carbon dioxide. All right. Moving on down, what is this girl doing right here? Well, you'll notice that this girl, they're showing three of the organ systems that we just got through studying. We just got through studying. We're right now in the middle of the respiratory system. We studied the digestive system last week, and the past couple of days we've been talking about the circulatory system. So these three work together to get energy throughout your body. The respiratory system brings in oxygen. The digestive system pulls sugar out of foods. The sugar, which is glucose, and the oxygen are combined together and moved it's moved throughout your body where they're combined together, and it creates energy. And here you see the girl lifting weights. That is how she gets the energy to do so. All right. So, I messed up. I left out one of the words. I'm sorry. Breathing. So we're going to backtrack just a second. And I did this all day today. Breathing is located right there. And what is breathing? Breathing refers to the movement of air into and out of the lungs. In other words, breathing is how you get air into your lungs and how you get air out, or carbon dioxide out. Okay? So breathing that's breathing basically. All right. All right, cilia. All right, right here is cilia. Okay. Basically what cilia is, and it's number 25 on your sheet. Cilia is these little tiny hairs, and what they do is they try to grab things as you breathe them in. Here, let's look at the definition right here. Cilia are tiny hair-like extensions that can move together in a sweeping motion. All right, so tiny hair-like extensions that can move together in a sweeping motion. Hit pause and I'll explain. All right, what cilia is, it lines your nasal passages and your sinuses. And what happens is as you breathe dust, breathe in bacteria, breathe in viruses, they grab it and they try to sweep it off down to your stomach or into mucus. If they can sweep it down into your stomach, it's destroyed by the stomach acid. If they can sweep it into the mucus, it is swallowed and it is destroyed by the stomach acid once again. So it's just the cilia are just ways of trying to keep you healthy once again. Now, your pharynx is your throat. Okay, an easy word for you to it's one word, your throat. This right here is your pharynx. Your pharynx is the part of when you get a sore throat, that's what's hurting. You've got a inflamed or a swollen throat. It's just your pharynx is a swollen throat. All right. Let's scroll down a little bit. All right. What is the trachea? The trachea is All right, the trachea is your windpipe, and it is located right here. And it is the part that when you press on it, it gives you resistance in there because it has cartilage in it. The same things that make your ear and nose. Okay, so this is basically where air goes down into your lungs. So hit pause. You shouldn't have to hit pause very long to type windpipe. All right. It is, and the reason why it's made out of cartilage is because your body wants that to be rigid so that air can easily go down in there. The and trying to think, there was a football player several years ago in USC. He was bench pressing weights, and he dropped the bar and it fell on his neck and it crushed that area right there. Well, there was emergency personnel on right there with him, and they had to using emergency means go in and cut open his neck so that he could have a hole to breathe in. They had to put a tube down in there while he's still awake in order to open that up. So your trachea is a very important part of your body, and it also leads to a part of your body that is called the bronchi. All right, so what are bronchi? Bronchi direct air into the lungs. Now, what are they? I'll tell you in a second. Hit pause and type it in. Okay, so what are bronchi? Well, here they are right here. It's this right here. These are your bronchi right there. And this is where the air splits and goes into the lungs. Okay. Now, you might be thinking, hey, I've had bronchitis. Is there anything related there? Well, of course there is. When you get sick, this area gets inflamed and mucus collects there. And that's why you have that deep, deep, deep cough and it rattles down in there and it hurts. Okay. Well, that's bronchitis that you have. So bronchi basically are the passages that direct air into the lungs. All right, so what is lungs? Lungs are the main organs of the respiratory system. The lungs are the main organs of the respiratory system. Okay, hit pause. All right, so your lungs are these areas right down here. That's what the lungs are. All right, they are what are responsible for getting oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. All right. After lungs, number 20 on your sheet is alveoli. And here is alveoli. Type this down. Tiny sacs of lung tissue specialized for the movement of gases between air and blood. Hit pause and I'll explain. Okay, so what are alveoli? These things right here are alveoli. If you look right here, they look like little sacks of grapes. Okay, well, what this is, air comes down this passageway down here, and it fills up these little sacks right here. And you'll notice this area has been cut away right here so that they can show you the wall right there. And what happens is oxygen goes through the wall and goes into these capillaries that you see right here. I guess it would help if it goes into these capillaries that you see right through here, the red and purple areas. And from there, it travels up through your blood system into your body wherever it's needed. So, let me get that back up here. All right. The page went away. All right. Well, I got to get back here. I always mess up something. All right. Anyway, so and don't forget that carbon dioxide goes the opposite way. Carbon dioxide goes out through, or it goes in through the lungs, and then you breathe it out. There goes carbon dioxide. So not only does the alveoli pull in oxygen, but it helps you to get rid of carbon dioxide also. All right. Diaphragm. Okay. And your diaphragm, the definition is, I thought it was right here. It's right here. Diaphragm is a large dome-shaped muscle that plays an important role in breathing. Hit pause and I'll talk about it. All right, so what is the diaphragm? Well, if I come to this picture right here, if you look right here, it points to this muscle underneath your lungs and under your rib cage. And over here you can see it as well. You didn't even know you've got this muscle until now, because I'm telling you about it. This muscle sits right under your lungs and it pulls downwards. And when it pulls downwards, it broadens out the ribs. It helps the rib muscles to expand, and it pulls air into your lungs. The lungs do not have muscles. It's the muscles that are in the ribs, around the ribs, and the diaphragm that pulls air into the lungs. And then when you breathe out, you push up with the diaphragm. As you can see, it's going upwards here, and it pushes against the lungs, and the air goes out. All right, so your diaphragm is just a muscle that you've had your entire life. Didn't know that you had it, but it has helped you to breathe ever since you were a baby. All right, so how do you talk? Well, right down here at the right around where your Adam's apple is, or in your mid neck, is your larynx. And your larynx right here, we're not even going to have to pause, is your voice box. Type that in real quick, your voice box. And inside your voice box, there is a area there where you have these two pieces of tissue that are called vocal cords. And your vocal cords are folds of connective tissue that produce your voice. So hit pause and I will explain that. All right, your vocal cords are two pieces of tissue, and those pieces of tissue go over your windpipe, and they vibrate to make noise. Watch this video real quick. This video shows you a camera going in the nose, through the sinuses, down the back of the pharynx, and into the vocal area. In through the nose, up into the sinuses, down into the back of the throat, and this is your vocal area down here. These are your vocal cords. And here you can't quite see them. This thing right here that looks like a tongue, that's your epiglottis. That is what covers up your wind tube, trying to prevent you from getting choked. All right, let's watch a little bit more here. And that is how you sing. Okay. Here you can see the vocal cords, epiglottis. This is the voice box down in here. So it's really cool how all that works together. All right. Well, that's an end of it. I hope you have a great weekend this weekend. Make sure you get all that stuff and make sure you start reading the announcements that are listed here and watching these videos daily, especially you folks that are absent in the middle of blended courses and all that. All the information that you need are in these videos. I hope you have a great weekend. God bless everybody.